Hi, Jon Kuzma from EndZoneBlog.com. This is the Step Your Game Up show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to cover all the divisional round action and a few other topics. So let's get right to the ticker. First things first, Mike Tomlin's meltdown. The Pittsburgh Steelers had enough talent to win the Super Bowl. They had the best running back in the league, or one of them, the best receiver in the league, which I think by far. And really, this coaching staff had all the pieces to go all the way, and instead they lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars in a shootout. Basically, Roethlisberger had a 4th-and-1 situation, and he checks out of a run, which you have to play fundamental football and run the ball there. Instead, he decides to throw the ball, and Pittsburgh turns it over on downs. Jacksonville goes right down field and scores, and that ended up being such a crucial play for this team, and that just can't happen. At some point, Tomlin has to talk about situational football with Roethlisberger and tell him what is acceptable and what's not. When you have Le'Veon Bell, you have to take that chance at running the ball. You have to trust your offensive line. You have to trust one of the best backs in football. And it's kind of not to the same magnitude by any means, but it's like Pete Carroll throwing the ball on the 1 yard line when you have Marshawn Lynch behind you. You can't do that. That's unacceptable. And dance with the girl that got you there. You know, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. Those are the guys that you have to rely on down the stretch, and Pittsburgh didn't do a good enough job of that. The other big blunder for Mike Tomlin was the onside kick. He should have kicked deep. I think he had 2 timeouts at that time, plus a 2-minute warning. That's unacceptable. Jacksonville was basically in field goal range after recovering the onside kick. I think the kick didn't go far enough, so there was a penalty tacked on too. So right away, the Jaguars are in field goal range, and if they make that kick, they pretty much ice the game. They eventually did, and that was all she wrote. If you're the ownership of the Steelers, you have to be upset because there was so much talent on this roster, and this is a catastrophic letdown for this team. This team was supposed to they clearly looked past the Jacksonville Jaguars, who beat them earlier on in the season. So how you look past a team that beat you, I have no idea. He had Le'Veon Bell drop that tweet that said they're gonna play the Patriots next week. Indirectly, it said that. It was something about 2 number 2s or doubles or something, like he's going to play the Jaguars again and beat them, and then he's going to play the Patriots again and beat them. Well, that didn't pan out. The other thing was Tomlin was kind of looking past Jacksonville, always talking about all season long about playing the Patriots again, and you had to take it game by game in this league. You can't look past anybody. Everybody's a worthy opponent, and there's a reason we say any given Sunday. It's because anything can happen in the National Football League, and that's what happens when you don't prepare as good as you should. Ben Roethlisberger threw for 5 touchdowns in this game. How you lose with 5 touchdown passes from your quarterback is beyond me. And really, this team really missed Ryan Shazier. The defense was vulnerable. They got like 40-something points hung on them. Wasn't a good enough effort. Coaching staff had to do better. They let this team down. Don't let anybody tell you different. There was enough talent to win it all. The Steelers flopped this year, and that falls on Mike Tomlin, Todd Haley, and the rest of those guys. Next thing on the ticker, we got the Vikings miracle. If you love back and forth action, you had to love this Vikings Saints game. It had all the makings of a true thriller. And Minnesota starts out red hot in this game. I think they go up 17-0. It was like one of the first times all year I think the Saints were shut out heading into halftime. But then the Saints came marching back. Drew Brees puts up 24 second-half points, and they really made it close. Late in the game, the Saints kick a field goal to go ahead. I think there's 1 minute left on the clock. Case Keenum and the Vikings offense, their back is against the wall. There's like 10 seconds left on the clock. They just had to throw up a prayer. Well, Keenum throws to Stephon Diggs. The Saints safety comes up, Marcus Williams. He evades that tackle. Stephon Diggs turns upfield, takes the final play on the final play of the game with the clock expiring. There's 0 seconds left on the clock, and Stephon Diggs scores a 61-yard touchdown. That obviously uplifted the Vikings over the Saints, and You have to believe that the Twin Cities bar scene was on fire last night because that was just a awesome win. The energy in US Bank Stadium was electric, and what a way to win a game. Just a true gritty football match where two teams competed all the way down to the wire. And as as a fan that didn't have a team like any horse in this game, I don't care if the Saints or the Vikings win. I really don't want the Vikings to win because I'm from Detroit and I'm a Lions fan. But it was awesome to see. Even though they're a division rival in the NFC North, the Vikings, they never gave up. That's what sports are all about. It's all about taking it to the final play, to the final second on the clock. And Stephon Diggs, he makes a play. Marcus Williams, you have to make that tackle. You can't afford to just miss. If you watch the film, Diggs goes up to make the catch, and Marcus Williams just misses to the left. So Stephon Diggs puts his hand on the turf, comes up from the catch, nothing but green in front of him. I understand that the Saints were playing back a little bit, but they should have been in more of a prevent D a little bit. The fact that there was only one safety there to make that play is kind of absurd to me. I'm at least in the cover four, maybe man under, maybe even just straight up prevent. But I don't know what happened there. You have to bat that ball down. You have to make that tackle. Something has to happen. Drew Brees did enough to win that game. If you were watching in the final quarter when all the pressure was on, I think it was fourth down. Drew Brees drops back, throws a perfect out route. I think to Willie Snead, I'm not sure, but he converts on fourth down. He gets that team down in field goal range, and he proved why he's probably going to wind up with more passing yards than anybody in NFL history. That's Drew Brees, more than Brett Favre, more than Peyton Manning. He did his job, but unfortunately the defense comes up short. The final score ends up being 29-24. If you're a Vikings fan, wow, that was awesome, and congrats to the Minnesota Vikings. Next thing up on the ticker, we got the Patriots clicking. Seems like every year we see the Patriots clicking, and if you heard the stat that the New England Patriots are going to their seventh conference championship game, you know that pretty much every year we're in the same exact situation. They rolled the Titans 35-14. The defense recorded 8 sacks. Now, I think this defense was 29th in the league when the regular season ended. So to record 8 sacks, they were just feasting. And let's be honest, the Titans don't have a slouch of an O-line. I know Jack Conklin got hurt and tore his ACL in that game and left, but still, you got Taylor Lewan, the rest of those offensive linemen that are just earth maulers up front. And the Patriots defensive line came out and just handled them. It was a great game. Brady continues to just dominate and prove that he's on another level. He's easily the best quarterback left in the playoffs, and that bodes really well for New England's future, especially if this defense can maintain the play that they established last week. So, once again, the Patriots are trending upward at the right time. Bill Belichick's making the right adjustments. Josh McDaniels making the right plays. Patricia's getting his defense together compared to what it was early on in the season, and don't be surprised when this team hoists another Vince Lombardi trophy. And Brady, it's all about Tom Brady, man. That guy is on another level of clutch. He's got the heart of a warrior. He always comes up big, and he's just a gamer above all. Moving down the ticker, we got the Eagles soaring. The Eagles beat the Atlanta Falcons 15-10. That's without Carson Wentz. Nick Foles steps in. He stepped up and got the job done. He had 246 yards. 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. While he didn't throw a touchdown, it was still big because he gave this team enough to put up more points than Atlanta and then eventually win the game. That's huge because Atlanta's defense was looking really good. That offense, I believe, with Matt Ryan on the field, should have been able to put up more points than the Eagles' offense. But that Eagles defense and Jim Schwartz and all those guys, they have a great D-line. They have great backers, great secondary. It's just a collective effort from all three phases of that defense, the front line, the backers, the secondary, the defensive backs. They're all just clicking at the right time, and if they can continue to play lockdown D like they have all season long, that's the formula for the Eagles winning, and then Nick Foles can get by with only putting up 15, 20 points a game. So give the Eagles a lot of credit. You know, you hold Matt Ryan to only 10 points. You got Julio Jones over there, Devonta Freeman, Tevin Coleman. Those guys are not easy to stop. Sanu, and the Eagles completely suffocated them. That's a quality win for this team. And I don't know if you guys watched the game. You've seen all the Eagles players put on the dog mask because they were the underdog without Carson Wentz, who probably would have been the MVP had he not got injured halfway through the season. They did it without their star, and the Eagles I thought they were going to be a one and done without Wentz. They're proving all the doubters wrong, and who knows how far Philadelphia can take this thing. If I was a betting man, my money would have been against them last week. Moving down, the Jags. Man, the Jags have so much young talent. Leonard Fournette goes off against the Steelers. He goes for 3 touchdowns and 109 yards. And Fournette, I did a little next-gen stats research on him. Nobody plays faster than Leonard Fournette. I think he's around 22 miles per hour with the ball in his hand. That's faster than guys like Tyreek Hill. That's faster than Marquise Goodwin. So obviously Fournette carries that extra pad weight better than those speedy receivers. And this guy is fast. He's powerful. Everything we've seen at LSU, he's been able to take over to the professional level. What a draft pick for the Jaguars. Ever since they got Fournette, I think they had 3 wins a year ago. They completely show out this year. Jacksonville is a very impressive team. And that defense, they have Marcel Darius, they have Miles Jack, they have Jalen Ramsey, they have Calais Campbell, A.J. Bouye. All these guys are clamping down and doing their job. Now Ben Roethlisberger did put up 5 touchdowns, so they had a bad performance, I guess, last week. They still got the win, but you can't give up 5 touchdowns to Tom Brady next week. You're going to have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to make some stops. But this defense was one of the top-ranked units in the league, and it's not every week that a quarterback's going to throw 5 touchdowns against them. I think Ben Roethlisberger was on. He was doing everything he could to get his team to win. He competed for all 4 quarters, but Jacksonville made enough plays to get it done. Blake Bortles, he was pretty good in this game. He only threw 214 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. But if you watch, he made all the right reads. He went through his progressions, and if it wasn't there, he was hitting the check down. He just made the right play. He didn't put up those gaudy numbers like Roethlisberger did with 5 touchdowns. But Blake Bortles, he did the things necessary to win the game. That's huge for his own progression. It'll be huge for his confidence. And expect him to get better as time goes on because, now he's 2-0 in the playoffs. And the legend of Blake Bortles is starting to grow a little bit. And everybody was so against this guy. Everybody bet against him. Everybody thought he was an underachiever. And now the tide is starting to change a little bit. Remember, objects in motion stay in motion. So we'll see if Blake Bortles can continue this good momentum. Next thing, we got coaching changes. Pat Shermer is going to the Giants. That's what we hear. That's a pretty good hire for them. He's a good offensive mind, and he should help that offensive unit and team as a whole get their act together. The Giants were a mess this past season, so the fact that they have new leadership is automatically a good sign for this team. We'll see if Eli Manning comes back and does his thing, and they just need to iron out all the wrinkles, put last year in the past, and get a fresh new start. So Pat Shermer to the Giants, that's a big hire. A lot of people wanted that Giants job just because New York City is one of the best places to be. I mean, that media can be really tough because there's nothing like the New York media. They'll carve you up if you lose. So Pat Shermer has a lot of responsibility on his plate, but at the same time, pressure can, create diamonds too. So if he elevates above all that stress that gets put on him by everybody in New York, he can probably do some great things out there. Matt Patricia is going to the Lions. He's a defensive-minded guy, the current Patriots coach. Bob Quinn was a former Patriots guy, so he goes to Bill Belichick's staff, gets a guy he knows he can rely on. Matt Patricia should help the Lions. Hopefully, as far as the Lions go, Jim Caldwell, the former coach, was a great team builder in the sense that he could recruit people well, but Jim Caldwell wasn't that good at in-game strategy Hopefully, Matt Patricia elevates the Lions as far as in-game strategy goes, because like late in the year, Caldwell didn't call or throw a challenge flag on a play that was questionable that could have saved the Lions season and maybe got them to the playoffs. So that's the main thing there. Let's get better on defense. Or the Lions need to get better on defense, and Matt Patricia should help. The Colts are going after Josh McDaniels, so it looks like the Patriots are going to lose their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels is also a great offensive mind. He should help whoever's the quarterback there, whether it's Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, T.Y. Hilton, and the rest of those guys. Should Jack Doyle, he should help everybody out on offense and have the Colts putting up a few more points than they did a season ago. Actually, probably a substantial amount more of points. Baker Mayfield, the last thing we have is not on the ticker. Baker Mayfield. I think the Arizona Cardinals are drafting 15th. It's been a while. I wrote an article on this, and as soon as I dropped this article online, a bunch of other companies like Bleacher Report and I think SB Nation or something like that started dropping the same article. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, and Carson Palmer was a great player coming out of USC, but at the end of his career, he had that one good year where he was the FedEx Player of the Year, but he was really starting to really not give this team as much as they need at the quarterback position. And if I'm the Arizona Cardinals and I need a quarterback because Palmer retired, and I need a face of the franchise and someone that can really inspire the fans and give them something to rally around, why not trade up and get Baker Mayfield? So if you're sitting at 15th, you could probably trade up to 5th and get him. Swap first-round picks, throw in a third, throw in a fifth. Do what you got to do, but don't be afraid to risk it to get Baker Mayfield, because this guy would come in and completely transform everything. Now, a lot of people are saying Baker Mayfield is Johnny Manziel 2.0. That's a bunch of horse crap. You can't just say Baker Mayfield is going to be the next Johnny Manziel. I don't think Baker Mayfield will fizzle out like Johnny Manziel did and just kind of throw away his career. I'm a Manziel fan. I would like to see him come back. I heard Manziel's going to the CFL. That's great for him. But Baker Mayfield is not going to do that. Let's be honest. This guy had like an absurd passer rating his senior year. I think it was like 198. That shows how many plays he's had. He had back-to-back 40 touchdown seasons. And while some people are like, he's too short, plays like Manziel, he's not going to be a great professional quarterback. I can kind of hear that a little bit because I like a pocket passer, like a Tom Brady, like a Jared Goff, who just sits in the pocket, takes one hitch, and throws the ball. But Baker Mayfield has so much upside that if he does pan out, he might actually be better than Carson Palmer was. Especially if he can play like he did at Oklahoma. That would re-energize the Arizona Cardinals. And after you lose Bruce Arians, your head coach, you lose Carson Palmer, your quarterback, this team needs something to just get the interest back up, to get people excited again, create a little buzz. Nothing will do that like drafting Baker Mayfield. So do what you got to do to pull the trigger, Arizona Cardinals, and get that deal done. I think Steve Keim's their general manager. Don't think too much. Just pull the trigger. That's all we got for tonight. I appreciate your time, and have a great night.